Welcome back, friends. This is conversation number 4, if I'm still counting correctly. Today we have Joyce, and Joyce and I know each other because we did our yoga teacher training together. What was that, 5 years ago now? 6?
Oh, four? Was it 2016? 2016.
Was it 2016? Gosh, it seems like forever
Yeah.
ago, but also
Yeah.
yesterday. Okay. So, yeah, you get to know a person during that. And the topic we're talking about today, we all had to give a presentation as our final project in our training. And this was actually what Joyce spoke about. And it hit me hard because I continue to struggle with getting lost in stuff. And, every season they want me to buy new decor. I say they, like there's some conspiracy against me. No, I'm an adult and I cave every year and buy new things. So, but Joyce has really done it. She made a conscious decision to sell all the things and pursue a life that they had in their dreams. And they've been doing it now. How many years have you been doing it?
This is since 2017. So this is like our third year, going into
Oh,
our fourth year.
amazing. So I'm going to pass it to Joyce and let her introduce herself because this is not all that she does. She also makes a living while she's living her dreams.
Hi, my name is Joyce Gauthier, and I have been living on a sailboat since 2017 with my husband. And in 2018, we procured a little Shih Tzu, so he's with us too. Um, while I'm sailing around on the boat, I do work. I work online running communities for massage therapists, mostly focused on preventing the sexual solicitations of massage therapists, which is an unfortunate part of the massage therapy industry, is that there's some people out there that think that all massages end in a happy ending. And I am here to help protect and keep massage therapists safe by providing them with the education that they need, empowerment to say no, all the tools that they need to keep their practice safe, basically. And that's something that I developed after it was a couple years of living on the sailboat, and we were living off of savings for quite a while. And I wanted to work again. Like, I never thought that I would be wanting to work again, I guess. Like, when I gave up my massage practice in 2017, we sold everything, we moved onto the boat, I was like, I can do this forever. I can just float around my boat and hang out and meet new people. I love people and meeting new people, but I was really missing the massage industry. And I couldn't do hands-on work because I travel too much. Like, that'd be totally unfair to my clients. I even tried it my first year, where I left, I came back the next summer and I opened my practice again. And I had a lot of clients that were like, oh, I waited 8 months for you to come back, and I didn't get any massages from anyone. And my clients are people in chronic pain with a lot of issues that really rely on massage therapy to function, and be out of pain, and to go to work, to get up in the morning, to be able to move. And that really hit home. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't go back and forth and do that to my clients. I can't travel around, start a new practice wherever I go. It's just not feasible. It's not fair to them. And it's not fair to me. Like, it's hard to keep up on your skills as a massage therapist when you take 8 months off a year. So that's why I developed these online communities. There's definitely a need for it. I have a pretty big following online, on Facebook and on Instagram, through Respect Massage, which is that business that I'm running. So that kind of takes us to now, where I've been living on this boat for 3.5 years. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still trying to figure out what that balance is of having fun, which I still totally enjoy, but also feeling fulfilled, because that is something that I definitely struggle with, where I'm living this amazing life, and then there's this level of guilt layered on top of it, of being like, well, I can't just sit around and drink pina coladas all day every day. I can't. I mean, I could, but I can't, like I feel like I need to contribute to society, and I feel like I do have a gift to really help people and to read. I read people really well. And so it lended itself to this online business. So I'm feeling fulfilled, but it's also this entirely new space that I was very unfamiliar with. Being a massage therapist, it's all word of mouth. It's all, it's meeting people. That's how you get your clients, is you to meet them face to face. So now I'm in this world where I have to meet people online. So I have to they have to find me through YouTube or my website or social media. And I have, on one hand, it's awesome to have complete control over the persona that I'm exhibiting on these medias. But on the other hand, it's hard to be real when, you know what I mean, Dawn? Like,
Yes. Yes.
you, do you wear
Yes.
makeup? Don't you wear makeup? Do you wear a bra? Don't you wear a bra? Like, is the dog's barking in the background? Is that okay? Or should I make sure that he's off the boat when I'm filming? Or what level of reality do I want to portray while still remaining professional? It could be really, really loose. You know what I mean? Do
Yes,
you
I
struggle
do.
with that?
Of
Is that
course I do. Because most of my life is spent online, and a lot of
right?
people have been thrown into the same world and the same struggles right now, because of COVID the last 8 months, right? We couldn't go
Right.
out and meet with people face to face. We're going into the winter. It's going to happen again. People don't want to believe it, but it's gonna. And I do struggle with it. And when I came back to doing this work online, I finally had to go, you need to just let it all go of what you think you should be, Dawn, how you should show up, what you look like when you show up, what words come out of your mouth when you show up, and just be you. Otherwise, what is the point? Your people are not going to find you unless you're being you. So I
Exactly.
show up, and there are days where I show up and I go, I am still in my pajamas while I'm doing my live. I'll go, I'm still in my pajamas. I am not wearing a bra. There is no makeup. I haven't touched my hair. Good morning. I had this thought, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that women would be like, oh man, no, that's not okay. Girl, put on makeup. But they seem
Ah,
to relate. My people relate to that. They're like, yes,
right.
girl, that's why we're here for you. That's why we
Right.
listen to you. That's why we enjoy you, because it's like we're in the living room with you. So my online persona is probably a lot messier than most people, but it was, I didn't know what to say or how to act when I was trying to be what I thought I should be online, right?
Right. But if you
And
just
that's
speak your truth, it comes out a lot easier. It rolls off your tongue.
right. And
So true.
it's
That's so,
exhausting trying to do it the other way. I
yes.
have fun every day, right? These conversations, I'm so glad that it's something I started, and it was gonna be like 3 conversations, right? And I was like, no, I'm not stopping this. I know all these other people and these other conversation topics I want to bring to the table. Um, and I think every conversation brings aha moments to the people that need to hear them at that time.
Yeah.
So when you say you sold everything, really tell us what that what did that really look like for you?
Oh, oh, sure. I mean, it was a journey that took place over many years. And it started in about 2013, where I found this blog. This friend of mine told me about this blog called Mr. Money Mustache. And I dove into this blog because it was all about this guy who retired at 30, him and his wife. They waited till after they retired to have a kid. They live debt free and are just living off of savings now. So I read the crap out of that blog. I went through every single one of his posts, and I joined the online forum, and I was super into it because he basically tells you step by step how to be financially free, how to pay off all your debts, how to save up enough money to be able to live the rest of your life. If you live off of 4% of your savings, then you're fine, and it's really just math. So as I was devouring that, we were in six figures of debt.
So you had a house.
We had a house, we had two cars, we had student loan debt. Like I had $55,000 just in student loan debt from me. My husband had a little bit. He went to a state school, thank goodness, and his parents helped him out a lot. But I mean, yeah, and just credit. Like I had 5 figures in credit card debt. I was your typical American. I mean, like,
right. I was going to say, there's
I'm
no
sure people
shame in
are
that.
like, yeah, whatever.
That's the majority of us.
That's all of us. Yeah, but it shocked me that me and my husband, we had no children, no pets, and we were living paycheck to paycheck.
Right,
We both
and
had
no savings.
And no saving. Well, my husband, before he met me, started his 401k. So he had he worked for UPS for 12 years before we left our life. So he was putting into his 401k pretty ferociously throughout from I think he was 24 or 25 when he started there. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that was totally awesome. Like that's still just sitting and growing right now. That's our retirement. So I think it's really funny that your cat is like on a loop behind.
That's one of my dogs.
That's a dog.
Yeah,
they're so little.
Yeah,
they just keep on like going. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah. So we did have that savings, but we had a ton of debt, and it was wearing on us. Like my husband and I have a great relationship. We are totally soulmates. We love each other. We're coming up on our 10-year wedding anniversary soon. And living paycheck to paycheck was really stressful for us. And there was no need for us to be living like that. We just bought too much crap. Like we were planning on having children. And the more that we thought about that, the more we were like, wow, like we're going to be stuck in this life until we die. And at that moment, my father was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, which is not a good cancer to have. I had 2 miscarriages. My grandfather died. Like I was experiencing a lot of loss. And through that loss, I was really discovering a lot about myself. So I was a massage therapist. I had this business. And when my father died, I took a lot of time off for the first time in 4 years of owning that business. I took 3 weeks off. And that was something that I had so much pride in before that I didn't take any time off. I'd go to work sick. I'd go to work sad. I'd go to work when there was a snowstorm. I'd show up and all my clients would cancel and I'd be sitting there during a snowstorm, like I would never, ever cancel on anybody. I thought it was super unprofessional and horrible for my business. But when my father died and I took that time off, it made me realize a lot of things that for me to take that time off, I'm going to be a better therapist. My clients are going to see I'm a real person. They all knew he was very ill because I was kind of prepping them like, hey, my father's not doing well. Like I might have to cancel on you, just kind of making sure that everyone was in the loop. Cause I feel like communicating to your clients, stuff like that is really important. Like, you don't want to tell them too much about your personal life, but you also need to let them know, like, I will probably be taking a month off soon. So through that journey and through like gobbling up the Mr. Money Mustache stuff, I started getting really serious about money because I watched my dad work until the day he died, basically. And so because I was going through that, I started to make some really big moves. Sometimes it takes trauma. Sometimes, what do they call it in yoga? Tapas, right? When you experience the fire, that's when you feel the changes. When you get a little uncomfortable, that's when you really grow as a person. So I started to be more serious about my money. And Mr. Money Mustache looks at it as a debt emergency. If you have debt, it's an emergency and you need to do anything in your life to make sure that you get out of debt. So that means stopping going out to eat, not buying clothes, like, oh my gosh, like I can't go out with my friends to that movie or something. But I took it really seriously and it took some convincing to get my husband on board because he works so freaking hard, like 50, 60 hours a week in that brown truck. And it's a grueling job. And
Oh, I have a brother-in-law who does that, and
it's gnarly.
it really is. He has very little, like Sunday is the only day he has to himself at
Mm-hmm.
all. It's I don't know how he does it.
Right. So he was like, well, on the weekends, I want to go out. I work so hard for this money. Like, you're telling me I can't go do anything now? Like, so we figured it out together. We both got on board, and it was like, there's lots of ways we can have fun cheaply without going on the vacations to Florida, like without, I don't know. We were just dumb, like, with our money. We just spent
Well,
it.
can
It
I
just,
I want to say that everything you're describing, though, is everything that we're fed
right.
as to how life should be. The student
Right.
loans, we all sign up as if it's just what we're supposed to do. We buy the house as if it's just what, without a thought.
We have the
Plan,
kids.
right,
Like, I
planning
was
on
even on
having the
track to
family.
yeah.
So all of that, and even you were talking about, like, I can't go out with my friends, or those choices you're making, we don't see them as choices. We see them as, I'm depriving myself. Why can't I do this? Like I'm a victim in this. No, you're a full-fledged adult, and you can make choices of where you spend your money or where you don't, right? But most of
Yeah.
us don't think that way
Yeah.
until we do some work on that, because that is the way we were raised, and that is what we know, and we don't think twice about just entering the same parade when we get
Right.
of age.
Right. And in, since then, I mean, we're talking since 2013 that I pulled back on going out and stuff. It's been 7 years. I mean, I've figured out how to have fun without necessarily going out. I just love people. As I said, I love people. I love interacting with people. I don't need to be spending money to be with people. I can hop on Zoom, or in the cruising community. Like right now, living on the boat, we're traveling south on the boat. And we can't go to, like, the further south it gets, the worse it gets with masks and stuff anyway. We're only in North Carolina. I don't know what's going to happen when we get to Florida. But anywho, so we're traveling with another couple, and we've chosen to have our bubble of saying, okay, well, we've got our 2 boats. There's the 4 of us. We're all going to, like, just eat on each other's boats and share meals and hang out and go for walks, and really be conscious about those choices that we're making. If we choose to go out, that we're choosing a place that's safe to go, which are few and far between. And it's a little chilly down here right now. So it's like, you can't eat outside. And so we're just staying in more. And I'm way more fine with it now than I was 7 years ago when I started the financial journey. So when we started getting really serious, we saw our debt just plummeting. Like, I've made a little spreadsheet with all our debts, and there's a couple different methods. Like, I think a lot of people are familiar with that snowball method from Dave Ramsey, where you take the lowest denomination that you have in your debt and you pay that off first. So you've got a credit card with $200 on it. You just pay that one off first, and then you work your way up to that $50 student loan bill.
And you
Mr.
take
Money
those
Mustache,
payments. Is this
and you
one
roll
where
it in.
roll it into the next one and the next one as you keep going?
Exactly. So Mr. Money Mustache does it a little bit differently, and I resonated with that a little bit more as a person. I'm very black and white. I'm very a logical person, I feel like. So what he says is, you take the highest interest rate first and you pay that off. So mathematically, you're going to be paying less over the long term as opposed to the snowball method. But the snowball method works from Dave Ramsey because psychologically you're getting more done,
Right.
So, because with Mr. Money Mustache, those high interest rate ones, those are usually the biggest denominations that you have to pay off. So it takes a little bit longer to go through that. But I'm glad I did it that way, because I ended up paying less in the long run. And I was fully aware of every cent I owed to a business or to another person, what the interest rate was, what the minimum payment was. I had all of that organized, and knowing that makes a lot more of an emergency in your head of being like, holy crap, I'm paying this credit card bill I'm paying 20% on every month. That like I'm just handing that over to the credit card company because I have a balance. Like, what am I doing? I'm wasting
Right.
so much money.
Which is if everybody did that and was really clear on where all their money was going like that, right?
Right.
Because we get into the cycle of, most of us, we have those credit cards and we may not have them maxed out, but we're perfectly comfortable going, well, I can't wait 5 minutes to get this, whatever it is. We get it on the credit card and we don't feel like we've got this lump of debt sitting there. We feel like we have a $29 minimum payment due.
Right. But I encourage people to really look at and see how much you're just paying to the credit card company
Exactly.
just for them to give you money. Like, when you look at it that way, it's like, oh, I don't think Capital One needs any of my money.
Right.
So I do it that way. So I like to this day, I have my credit cards with super low percentage rates with awesome rewards, and I use them every month, and I scoop up those rewards, and then I pay it off at the end of the month.
Right.
And
so you use those
they're
cards
paying me.
like cash, right? You use those cards like cash. You use those to pay the groceries, for the gas and stuff, rather than paying cash to leverage the rewards, right?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So so we eventually paid off all our debt. So that happened in 2016. And what happened is we sold our house. I think we made like $20,000 on our house because we did some upgrades and the market was good. And we sold our house in 2 weeks in Niskayuna, New York. And then we took the proceeds and we bought our sailboat, because by then we had zero debt and we eliminated the mortgage by selling the house, and we put the money towards what we were going to buy the sailboat with. We didn't buy the sailboat until a year later. So 2016, we sold our house. We didn't own the boat yet. So we moved in with my mother-in-law for a year and a half, because we knew if we did that, we could bank 80% of what we were making, put that into savings, and we would get rid of all our stuff. So then the transition in 2017, when we bought our boat, we moved onto our boat, all that stuff would be a lot easier. Because getting rid of a lifetime of stuff is not easy. It's very daunting. It takes a long time. So for us to transition from the house into the apartment at the mother-in-law's house was, it made it easier. Because I mean, I also had this an issue with getting rid of our stuff, because you think about how much you paid for all of this stuff, and then when you go to try and sell it and you can barely give it away, and it's like it kills you with every single, you're like, we bought these couches, we financed them, we've paid so much money for these couches and no one wants them. So what ended up happening is we ended up giving a lot of the stuff to my brother. He was just starting off with his, new family, and they just had a baby and they had a house. And so we gave them a lot of our dishes and our decorations and like a lot of kitchen stuff. So now every time I go to my brother's house, I get to visit my stuff, which is nice. And I feel like it's gone to a good home and to a good cause, because now my brother is debt free and my sister is debt free. Like, it was this avalanche of all of us doing it together. At different times we got to that place at different points in our lives, but over the last 7 years, all three of us, all my siblings, have become totally debt free, which is
That's amazing.
Super, that we all share that.
That's amazing.
And my brother really went for the Dave Ramsey stuff. He loves Dave. Like, they did the envelopes and all that stuff. And my sister just kind of went rogue and did her own thing, but we all got there in our different ways. But it's really nice to have that we share together. So by the time we moved onto the boat, we owed no one. We paid for the boat in cash. And we moved on to her, and we've just been sailing around the East Coast, and we've gone to the Bahamas a couple times. We've met a lot of awesome people. My husband's right there. He's checking on the fire in the little fireplace. Hi, Matt. So he got his captain's license, and he worked last summer as a charter captain in St. Michael's, Maryland. So he, because what was also happening is we were living off of savings pretty much that whole time. Like, I have my online business, but it's not enough to sustain us. Like, it's
right. It takes time to build that.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah, it does. And which is totally fine. Like, I am getting a lot out of it. I would love to be making more money on that business, but in time. So he got his job as a captain last summer, which was really awesome. And that kind of put us back in the black for, all right, we don't have to dip into our savings anymore, and we can, and we bought a new boat. So we didn't sell our old boat yet. And we have a lot of money tied up in boats in our fleet right now because we own 2 boats. And so if anybody wants a 30-foot sailboat, please buy it. And so that's like, we're in this kind of financial limbo right now, but we're still not racking up debt. I have no interest in going back to that. We can always fall back and say, all right, we'll move back in with mom, and we can go back to New York and work, and I can massage, and he could go back to UPS or do something, like, if we really had to. And we've always said, like, if a family member becomes ill or something, and we would just give it up and just go and take care of them, or, whatever
But
the family would need.
those are choices that most people, they would have to disrupt their entire world as they know it in order to do that. That is the same thing you would do, but you've already eliminated all the things that would make it truly difficult to do that, right? Because all you have to do is sail back this way, step off the boat,
right, or leave it somewhere. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but we designed our life like that for a reason. Like, also in the past 5 years, my father's died, Matt's father's died, and my mother has died. So we have Matt's mom left. We have siblings, we have aunts, we have other family, lots of nieces and nephews and stuff. But Matt's mom is the last person, like the last parent that we have. If anything happened to her, absolutely we would drop everything and go back and do whatever she needs, especially because she's like the most giving, loving person ever, and she's done so much for us. She let us live with her for a year and a half, like, she's a really good person too. So we have designed our life with that in mind.
Right. So that's
a high priority for us.
Right. So very conscious decisions all along the way, right? To become debt free, and how you do that, how you live day to day, even very conscious decisions. I just want to not let that slip by. Like, that needs to be said, because most people will look at what you're doing and go, oh, wow, well, I wish I could do that. Or, well, it must be nice, as if, like, it just happened for you, right? Or people will think, I could never, oh, a boat, you bought a boat, you must be made of money. Well, some people,
not at all.
Some people, yes, that's the case, right?
But sure.
No, you made choices to get to where you are, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't, I feel like it's a fine dance though, between saying like, oh, well, I worked my ass off to get to where I am, and like, I'm a white woman from a middle class, family. My husband is a white male from a middle class family. We had college educations. Like, there's a lot of privilege that has brought us to where we are. And I don't want to say like, oh, well, just anyone can do it, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Like, there was a lot of things that we were gifted to be able to live with my mother-in-law debt free, rent free for a year and a half. Like, not everybody has that opportunity. And for us to get out of debt, like, a lot of things had, like, I was a good business owner. Matt had a really good job, like, a lot of things fell into place for us to get to where we are, and I'm very grateful. Was there work involved? Yes. Was there discipline involved? Yes. Were we uncomfortable a lot of times? Of course. Like, are we uncomfortable now? Yeah, we live on a boat. Like, it's not like I'm freezing right now. I live on a boat with a little fireplace in here, and that's our heat. Or we have like a little propane heater. We can't just turn up the thermostat on here. Like, we have to work just to stay warm, or and there's just constant repairs. Our transmission's leaking right now. We were sewing our sail today in this tiny little room with our sewing machine that didn't work, and we're like hand cranking the sewing machine to sew the sail together and stuff.
Or
like
let's say
there's a lot of
right, it's inclement weather and you're stuck in that tiny room and you and Matt are having a disagreement. You can't just slam the door and walk to the other end of the house and catch your breath, right? It's like,
well, on the old boat, that was very true because it was one room. This new boat is like a mansion to us because there's like a whole back stateroom in the back, and then there's front space. So we could slam a door and have but we don't really. I don't know. We don't really do that.
but
It's not really.
still, it's not like,
You could have alone time if we had to. Yeah.
right, right.
But we went 3 years on the other boat without that being an option.
How did that
and
How did that change? Did you have to change how you communicate when you're not getting along?
well, so I don't want to. Okay, me and Matt don't really fight,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that's like insane sounding, but
No, it's not.
we're really, yeah. Okay,
It's a reality for people. Some people,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
my relationship.
yeah. Like people. Somebody said to us the other day, they're like, "I've never seen a couple get along so well." We do, but within that spectrum of like, we get cranky. I get PMS. Like, he gets his PMS. Like, we get cranky. Like, there's a lot of stressful situations that we're in that are dangerous and scary. And, we'll bicker. I feel like we'll bicker. So we have learned the more we communicate, the better off we're going to be. And that has really transformed our relationship of like, we're lowering the outboard engine onto our dinghy. And I'm saying, okay, I'm lowering, I'm starting now. And he goes, okay. And like, we're just constantly saying what we're doing to each other. So everyone's on the same, okay, are you ready? I'm going to do it. I'm letting go and it's coming down. Okay, I've got it on. All right. And we're just constantly talking. So we do that a lot. And I think when other couples see us doing that, it looks a little weird, but we just know that that's what works for us, is that we're just constantly talking through exactly what we're doing. So we know, because if you don't do that, I mean, someone could get hurt.
Right.
Okay, Matt, putting the hatch down. Don't hit your head on the hatch when you come out from downstairs. Okay, I'm putting the boat into neutral right now. Like anchoring, docking the boat, all of that. Like, there's t-shirts out there that say, "I'm sorry for what I said while I was docking the boat," because boat docking ruins relationships. For anyone that's owned a boat, like they know that it's stressful, it's dangerous. There's other boats involved. You could damage things. You could hurt yourself. Like, so there's usually a lot of yelling and screaming when it comes to docking a boat or anchoring a boat. But we're just constant. We've got hand signals, because when he's at the front of the boat anchoring and I'm at the steering wheel, we can't hear each other. So we've got hand signals, and it's just constant communicating and letting each other know what we're going to be doing, what our plans are, how we're going to execute it, making sure that we both understand. And I know I've learned a lot. Like, when we first moved on the boat, Dawn, like, I was coming from being this powerful business owner, just went through the yoga teacher training. Like, I was on top of the world, and I move onto this boat and I knew how to do nothing on this boat. And my husband's handy. He's been boating his entire life. And I would just stand there and I'd be like, I don't even know what to do. Like, and I felt so worthless as a human being at that point in my life. And it took me, I'd say, a year to just get comfortable being like, okay, I've got my routines. I know where things go. I know how to work the boat and all of that stuff. And it wasn't even until this past summer that I really got comfortable docking the boat, and doing stuff like that. So I've definitely come into my own. And I'm glad I did, because I feel like the biggest growth that I've had in my life was because I was in uncomfortable situations. That's
Sure. Well, you would
always
have to, if you didn't find your way around the boat and how to do all that, what if, you're sailing and something happened to Matt? You would be
exactly
like completely,
right.
wow.
Right. I
Yeah,
need
that,
to know how to get the boat into the harbor, how to drop the anchor, call for help, all of that. Like, and we have so much safety integrated into every single part of our lives. Like, we have, I feel like it's very safe, considering, oh, your pup just lay down right behind you. It's so cute. What a baby. So we're really careful, for sure. And Matt is really good about that. He was the safety co-chair of UPS at the Latham hub there for a while. So he's just always thinking about, like, how can we make things safer? There's fire extinguishers everywhere, and it's
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
got a lot going on.
I feel like he's a lot like my husband, Chris. One of my
Yeah.
nicknames for him is Wix, and that's WICS, worst case scenario. Um,
Ah,
so he's always thinking of what can go wrong, right?
yeah,
But from a safety point of view. But like
right.
me, I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, I will just run into and jump off of and into, and he's like, hold up, what are you doing? And I'm like,
Right,
i'm
right.
i'm leaping. It's, me. This is what I do. We would not be together if I was not a leaper. um
True, true. No, it's a balance. It's definitely a balance.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I'm glad I have him to keep me from bumping my head all the time.
Yeah. So I find it completely amazing that not only did you choose this life, but I didn't know until this conversation that you really weren't a boat person when you guys decided to live
Oh,
on a
like
boat.
we had this, like, we had a little trailer sailor, like, when we were trying to save our money, we got a little tiny sailboat so we could do our vacations on this little boat. Like, we would bring it to different lakes. Like, we brought it to Lake Champlain and the Finger Lakes. We would just vacation on it. And I didn't know how to start the engine. I didn't know how to do anything. And Matt did it. Like, I pretty much just, like, drank wine and took naps. Like, that's what I did. And he ran it because he really loved it. And I never thought in 1,000 years that we were going to live on a boat. Like, I was like, I don't need to learn how to do this. I'm just going to go out and enjoy myself. And he knew, if I'm happy and I'm comfortable, then he gets to go sailing, because I'll go with him. Like, it was the same thing with camping. I never camped. And he just made it super comfortable. We brought the best meals, and he would bring, like, the big tents, and, like, we got a little truck bed camper thing. And, like, he just kept on stepping up his game. So I would go out camping with him. And,
He's a
and that's
smart
what I did
man.
with boating. Right. So now we have this giant 42-foot boat, just so but I really have fallen in love with it. And I feel like I could operate this boat by myself at this
That's
point.
that's
I know
amazing.
what I'm doing.
That must feel so empowering,
Yeah, it does. It does. It feels
right?
really, really good, especially because of the journey that took me to get here. I was kind of kicking and screaming at first, but then I did fall in love with it. I always told people, like, he's the sailor, like, I don't care. I just love to travel. I just happen to be on a sailboat. It's like, but I've really fallen in love with it. Like, you don't experience nature like you do on a sailboat. I mean, I feel like I'm so in tune. Like, I've got roots coming out of my feet and clouds coming out of my head. And, like, I just feel so comfortable in this lifestyle, just being so in touch with, like, I could look outside yesterday and see that full moon last night and just get really in tune with how the seasons and how the moons change, like, me. And I don't know, like, I'm getting a little woo, but
No, I love it.
it's like I've really tuned in, how my moods change, and how, like, my digestive system even changes just with different weather systems or seasons or where we're living. Like I grew up in upstate New York, and I was like, the cold doesn't bother me. I love being outside. Like I don't care. Like we would keep, when we were trying to save money, we kept our heat down really low. We would turn it down to 55 at night and 58 during the day. Like if we had guests over, we'd be like, okay, we could put it up to 60. So we kept it like really chilly, and we were like, we love this. Oh, it's awesome. But now that we can choose to go to warm climates if we want, we pretty much choose to stay warm. And I feel like I was kind of lying to myself about how much I like winter,
So
because on winter in a few years and I'm okay with it.
so where do you see yourself, say 10, 20 years down the road? Is there a plan, or do you just do this
Uh,
until you go both are starting to go, I think maybe we're done with this?
right. Yeah. Well, we've always said, and I will hold to it, is we will stop doing it when it's not fun anymore. We're still having fun. So we're leaning into it. Matt has his captain's license. I'm looking into maybe working on the water too, or getting some sort of like skill where I could work on the water as well. I have my online business. I feel like that's really fulfilling, but it's not as lucrative as I had hoped for it to be. So I'm going to continue with it, and I'm just going to have it be my passion project and try and get this information out to as many massage therapists as I can. But look into maybe working on the water so I can make a little bit more money, so we can continue to live this lifestyle, because I do not want to dip into our savings any more than we have. And so 5, 10, 20 years, Dawn, I don't know. Like people are like, where are you gonna be next week? And I'm like, I don't know, it depends on the weather. So could we still be living on the boat? Sure. Like I don't see us owning like a 2,000 square foot house ever in our lives, or anything like giant. Maybe a tiny home, maybe like something in the Adirondacks with my family, or like my extended family, my siblings or something. We could all like hang out there in the summers, and then we could go sail in the winter. I don't know. I mean, we're, knock on wood, we're healthy. That's definitely something that will
Yeah.
come into play, is as we age, like you have to be healthy to live on a sailboat. Like if something goes down and you're 200 miles offshore, help cannot get to you quickly. And if anything happens with our health, we're obviously going to have to reevaluate. Or if anything happened with our family back home, we would drop it and go tend to that. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know.
I kind of love that you don't have a plan.
No.
Like a set, like, oh, we're going to do this for 10 years or 15 years. And
Right.
this. I kind of love that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it was a question that needed to be asked, because I think that a lot of people are going to be wondering, like, oh, how long did
Right.
they do this? Like,
Right.
I'm not
I mean,
sure.
I could see us really like teaching more people to be comfortable in this lifestyle. I feel like a lot of couples try to live on sailboats and they fail because of that communication breakdown, because they're like, we've seen people get divorced, and break up. We've seen a lot of breakups living in this lifestyle. So I think I would love to kind of like get once COVID is over, get people on our boat and have them experience the lifestyle, and to travel with us and to see what it's really like. Especially those people that sit at home and watch YouTube videos and be like, oh, there's all these huge YouTube channels for what we're doing, and they only show like the really awesome parts of the lifestyle.
Course.
It's not super realistic. So I would love to get like that type of person on our boat to really experience it, and for them to enjoy our life together, because I feel like we have so much to share, and I feel bad keeping it all to ourselves, because it really is a really cool life, and it's attainable to the right type of people.
Oh, I think this has been a fascinating conversation. I hope, like, it's got me thinking again, of, and we have been unloading things. I'm like, my new mantra is, yes, it's still useful. It's just not useful to us, and letting go of the pain of, it's not about the money. It's about the space I'm creating. Right. Because like you
Right.
said, you're never going to get back anywhere near the money you invested in it, which should be also a place where you go, oh, so maybe I should stop buying things that aren't going to have any return.
On that is clutch right there, is because when I went through that process of being like, none of this stuff is worth what I thought it was worth, I stopped buying new stuff. Like, if we can avoid it, we're buying second, like, this is secondhand, my shirt here, like, my pants, everything. Yeah, everything that I'm wearing right now is secondhand. And it's a lot easier to buy stuff at a much cheaper rate where, like, A, you're doing something for the earth, you're recycling, you're making sure that the stuff isn't ending up going into a landfill, and B, you spent $3 on it. Oh, you get a stain on it, you rip it, okay, it goes to the rag pile, it becomes a rag for the boat, and then it lives out the rest of its life like that, and then it goes in, then you can throw it out. And it's just, I feel like living on a boat, everything, so because we have so little space, everything has to have 2 or 3 or 4 jobs. So you really look at every single thing that you're standing in the store with, holding it in your hands and thinking, is there room for this on the boat? What can it do for me? What's it, is this exactly what I want? And I think so hard about every single thing I purchase or obtain, because there, you can find a lot of cool stuff in dumpsters too. Like when you're in a marina or a boatyard, like, there's really cool stuff in the dumpsters. Like my husband, no, it was in the spring. It was when like COVID was just starting and he didn't know if he was going to be able to work his job as a charter captain. Like no one knew what was going on, like March, April. So we were in this marina. We were just kind of waiting to hear if we were going to go to Maryland for the summer or not. We didn't know. And the marina manager was like, there's these boats that have been sitting here for years. Go on those boats. You can sell anything you want. And that made really good money on eBay selling boat parts. So like, these are boat parts that were just sitting in the grass in this boat, not doing anything. He took them, he sold them. So the people that bought them are getting boat parts that are really expensive for a cheaper rate. Matt was making money. That person's happy. And then you're getting less garbage out of the boatyard. Like, just, that's how we look at stuff now, is giving it a new life. Is like, do these giant corporations really deserve my money? Like, I'd rather give it to the little guy. I'd rather help a small business. Because I've been a small business owner for 10 years now, and I watched my husband work for a giant corporation that just got richer and richer and richer while he, was unhappy and working really hard. And I think that's how I look at stuff. But I've always looked at, I've never been super attached to stuff. Like, I was the kid that would go through my clothes and I would get rid of my clothes, and then a year later and be like, oh, I wish I still had that shirt. I got rid of it. Like, I'm not someone that ever looks at my stuff and is like, oh, I have too much stuff. It's always like, I wish I had, like, it's always with clothes where I'm like, I wish I had held on to that shirt, like, oh, it was too big or it was too small, or I didn't like it for one reason or another, but now it fits into my life and I wish I still had it. But I don't know. I mean, it's not life or death or anything. It's just a shirt. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like when we get rid of our stuff, we create more space in our life for other things that might not be tangible. Like when we got rid of our things, like we were going through our yoga teacher training. I mean, talk about, like, I've never felt so good in my life than when I went through that yoga teacher training. Like, my body felt good, my mind felt good. I was like, I wish we could just do that for the rest of our lives, that training together, and just get together every other weekend. But I was going through that process of getting rid of things, and I developed a lot of really good ideas, and my business was doing really well. And that's when we were like, okay, let's move on a boat. And I don't know. I don't think this stuff is important, and I'm better off without it.
Of course. And I find the more that I get rid of, the calmer.
Yeah.
The overall, even the house.
Yeah.
feels calmer, walking into a room and it's like, oh, that lamp is really beautiful. I've had that lamp for 4 years. How did I not know it was so beautiful? Well, because there was so much other stuff around it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just
Mm-hmm.
looking at a blob of stuff. But
Right.
now that it's sitting on this wall and it's basically there alone with a plant, I'm like, that's a really pretty lamp. So the
Yeah.
more, so I keep going, okay, how much more calm can I bring into our environment? And that really became important when we got stuck here, right?
Right. Right.
COVID, suddenly you're living with this stuff 24/7 as opposed to, oh, it's a place where I come home and I'm tired and I'm not paying attention to my
Right.
stuff. Like,
Right.
how many pots and pans do I actually use on a regular basis?
Oh
And
yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. I mean, when we moved onto the boat, like we have one spot for pots and pans. So we had to make sure all the pots and pans fit into each other so we could tuck them away into as small a space as possible. So something that I changed up this year, because on our old boat, we had a 2-burner stove. On this boat, we have a 4-burner stove, and I wanted to get a cast iron griddle. Game changer, because I can use that for pretty much everything. So I have the griddle, I have my pressure cooker, like I have a little stovetop pressure cooker. I have a soup pan, like a big, like, like a spaghetti pot. I've
Yep.
got one of those, and then I've got 2 frying pans. And I feel like I have 1 frying pan too many now.
Right, with the
Because I
griddle.
feel it. Because I have the
Right.
griddle. Yeah, so I can pretty much do anything on that. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I can get rid of a pan now. Like that's how my life is you bring something new in, you probably got to get rid of one or
Right.
two things. And yeah, it's awesome. Like our Tupperware containers, like, you like everyone has a whole cabinet full of Tupperware containers. You use 4, like we have 4.
Right.
We have 4
Right.
plates. We have 2 bowls. We have a bunch of forks, like 8. It's not an obscene amount of stuff. We don't have any serving spoons because, like, if we have people over, it's like 2 other people. So you just use a regular spoon. Like, how much stuff do you need?
Right. Right. And that is the question. Seriously,
Yeah.
how much stuff do you need? Because I feel like we all have too much. Like, I would go on vacation. We go on vacation once a year, like physical away vacations. It's always to Martha's Vineyard. We always rent
Oh,
a little cottage and,
yeah.
we bring the dogs and we live there. I do a lot of cooking. We eat a lot of seafood. And every time I'm like, oh, I could live in this little tiny cottage. This is awesome. Then I would come home and like a month later, I'm like talking about, we need to, put another room on that end of the house.
Ah!
Right? And it's just 2 of us here. It's a 3-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms. And I'm like, why am I
Wow.
so content in the cottage? But I come home and I'm like, I need a bigger house. We need a porch and we need this. And I finally this year, because of COVID, and it's really made me have to sit and think about a lot of things. I was like, it's not about the size of the house, Dawn. It's about, you feel like you need more house because you have so much stuff. And the
Well, I
stuff
think,
is taking up all the space, and you feel like you need more space.
but let's rephrase it. It's that you have all these ideas, putting them into a different spot. Like, use your ideas for something else that's not stuff.
Expand on that if you could, please, because I think like this
So,
is
yeah, this is good for you. Because this is what happened to me. Like, I was in that same space. We owned a house. I wanted to put a massage treatment room on the house and additions and like redo the backyard and put in, like all this crap and all this stuff. And it was like, when that wasn't an option for me anymore, I can't put an addition on my boat, but I can do something different with my business. I can start, a new online community. I can, it's like, so my brain, instead of going to adding on to my space or getting more stuff, has flipped into thinking of what can I add to my life to help other people, to help myself. Like, what book can I read? What knowledge can I gain? What language can I learn? Like those are the types of things. That's where my brain goes now. So it's I think there has to be like a reprogramming to flip it out of how can I make my house better to like, maybe I can start a website about design, and like I can look at other people's houses and give them ideas or something. So you're still getting that part of yourself fulfilled, but you're not adding more stress to your life by adding more stuff.
I think that's a really important little aha for me. Like I can expand my mind limitlessly,
Right.
right? My
Right.
creativity just needs to it needs to go to a different place where it doesn't occupy my entire physical space.
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing for me to kind of ruminate on for the next couple of weeks, and I think that's going to make a difference in how quickly I start unloading my stuff now. No, seriously, I think that was a new breakthrough for me. And
Wow.
I hope for somebody else too. I'm glad we took the extra 5 minutes in the conversation for that, because I think it's an important bit of reality shift that anybody can make,
Yeah.
right?
Where do you want your energy to go? That's all it is what do you want to put your energy into?
I need to write that down. Like seriously, I'm gonna go on with my day and I won't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, everything's just energy, right? So
Yeah.
stuff is energy, your ideas are energy, the way that you're putting yourself out there to the world, it's all energy. So how do you want that energy to be manifested
And invested,
and invested? Yeah.
right?
Like
More
you
importantly.
putting an addition onto your house is not going to help as many people as if you say, okay, I'm going to do this podcast this month, or I'm going to, reach out to more people, or I'm going to, build my business in this way. Or because I feel like this conversation has been helpful for me, and I know anyone watching is going to get a lot out of it. And that's your gift to the world right now, is what you're working on right here. And you have a knack for pulling out like the gems of a conversation. Yeah. I mean, but that's your thing. Like, that's what you do. That's how you help people, is by holding a mirror up to them and saying, this is what I see. Let me repeat that back to you, what you just said, because people don't hear what they're saying all the time. So I, I know you can do it. I mean, just stop buying stuff and put it into this.
Stop buying
Put it
stuff.
into this.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's like so
Yeah,
simple,
no. It
you know?
is. It is. And it's simple, and it's not oversimplified, because like my core desired feelings are um two of the big core desired feelings that I want in my life all the time is connection and community. And putting an addition on my house is not going to bring me connection or
Right.
community, right?
Right.
Like joy, passion, humility, connection, community, and grace. I'm not going to get any of those things
Yeah.
from a bigger house at
No,
all.
that's what we do. I mean, my husband kind of makes fun of Marie Kondo when he says this, but if we're out shopping and I'm like, Matt, I want this, he goes, does it spark joy? Does it bring you joy? And it's like, that's how we make all our choices. It's like either we need it for, safety, or for to live, or if it sparks joy. And that's how you go through your house when you're getting rid of stuff. Like, does this really bring me joy? Do I really need it to live? If you don't, you can just get rid of it.
Yeah.
It feels so like you just got to get the ball rolling and start to like really purge, and it just feels so like it's so cathartic. It's so
Yeah.
because you really start to think about why you're holding. Everybody's reason is going to be different. Like for me, I hold on to stuff because I spent money on it, and I feel bad getting rid of it because it's like throwing away money. Or I've had this forever. Like I think that a lot of people can resonate with that. Like I had this since I was a kid and I can't get rid of it, or like my mom gave it to me, or like from my childhood, so I can't, like I have a Tupperware full of pictures at my mother-in-law's house that I just can't get rid of. Like, what am I, they're my pictures. So, and with that being said, it's okay to still hold on to some things, even though they don't really spark joy or you don't really need them. But there's just some things you can't get rid of. But when it's just junk you bought from Ocean State job lots 5 years ago and you get rid of it because you spent some money on it, well, then get rid of that shit.
I'm laughing too because they just opened a job lot in the next town over, and it's been like the talk of the Facebook community page for
Oh,
months.
I
Oh
do
my
love
God.
job. I do love these job.
Yeah, they you can get some really quality things for low prices
Yeah.
at the job lot. You can. Well, Joyce, this has been a joy talking to you today.
Hey.
I mean, I see you all the time on Facebook, but we haven't had a conversation like this in such a long time. And I missed that. I didn't know how much I missed that.
Oh, well, we're gonna have to do it more.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Feel free to poke me and say, let's get on the Zoom.
All right.
Okay, so have a wonderful day. Anybody wants to reach out to Joyce, I am tagging her in the post. You can find her, and through her, you can find her massage community if that's what you're looking to connect on. Yeah, please reach out. If you can't, reach out to me and I will put you in touch. I'll make the connection to Joyce for you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks.
Um,
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.